Southern fried cube steak with gravy over cauliflowered rice with biscuits. It doesn't get any more delicious than that on this episode of BoosCruize.
Hi, I'm Jarrell.
And I'm David.
I am 34 years old.
Alright guys, so we are going to start off with our biscuits. So this is using the Carb Quick Complete Biscuit and Baking Mix. This is comparable to your Bisquick, and this only has 2 net carbs, so you can't be mad at that. So I have 3 cups in here. I'm going to put 3 cups into my food processor. Hopefully you guys can see everything. I know we've had some issues with sound, and so this is actually, I'm using my GoPro, so hopefully the sound is better. Oh my gosh, I made a huge mess. So this is half a stick of Kerrygold butter, and I put it in the freezer, so this is super cold. What you want to do here is put it all in, and then you're going to pulse this exactly like this. Put your lid on, turn it on, and you're going to pulse it until the butter is the size of peas. Just like this. I'll bring it back in just a second because this is going to be loud. Okay, if you see that, the butter is the size of peas. See, they're tiny little granules inside there. Now, this says to use water, basically just water in this mix, and you could totally do that and it'll make great biscuits. That's just not the Southern way for me. Normally, I would add buttermilk in here. There is buttermilk powder. You can add some water. I'm just gonna add a little bit of cream and then give it a pulse until it comes together really loosely. So you see how it is crumbly and it does not look like a dough right now? That's exactly what you want. Just a couple of pulses, but this will become a dough. What you want to do is, now very gently, guys, these are biscuits. You want to be gentle with them. We are going to do pretty sizable biscuits. We want them to rise. We want them to be big enough for biscuit sandwiches, like breakfast sandwiches. Make them nice and round, and about that is what I'm gonna do, because you don't want to get crazy on the carbs, but you do want to be able to make a sandwich out of those. Place it right on your silicone pad, and we're gonna make a few more of those just like this. I'll be back when they're done. GoPro, stop filming. Okay, so you can see that I got 8 biscuits out of that. That was 3 cups of mix and butter. So here is a little tip. Oftentimes you use an egg wash on the top of biscuits, but if you don't want to use an entire egg, or you don't have any eggs, you can also use heavy cream, and that, just brush it right on top, and this will give an amazing brownness to your biscuits as they are finished. You don't need to drown them, but just a light wash will change the entire look. Now you could also do this with butter, but we already have butter inside. Also, when you are making your biscuits, you don't want to handle them too much, because you worked really hard to get that butter really cold. And what it does is it causes a reaction inside the oven. So that cold butter gets into a really hot oven, and then it kind of bursts, and then it causes the rise. And you know, also any other things you put in there to have some rise will help that out, but cold butter is definitely key. All right, these are ready for the oven. Go. What I have here is some seasoned up cube steaks. You can get these in your grocery store. They're literally just called cube steaks. They're very similar to chicken fried steak. They're just steaks that have been run through a tenderizing machine, and I season these up. I use salt, pepper, garlic, onion, seasoning salt, and some Tony Chachere, some Cajun seasoning. And this is actually that Carb Quick. So you can, there's a million uses for this. Now, if you've never had cube steak, it's basically battered and lightly fried steak, And I seasoned up my carb quick too. So this has the same seasoning as I have on the steak. And you just want to flip it in. You don't want to do too much. Like, this is not a deep fried situation. You just want to get it on there real light, dust off the excess, and onto this piece of wax paper. And you just continue doing that until all of your pieces are coated. And you want to put this, you do want to add this carb quick, I mean a fair amount, because we're going to make a gravy. Now, I've never tried this before, so let's hope that this all works out, because this might be an epic fail. But I don't know, something in my spirit, something tells me, like Moana with the sea, that this is going to be delicious and it's going to work out amazingly. So I'm going to keep going on until all of these are coated, and I'll be back. All right, you see that? All coated. And don't throw this out, because we are going to use this to thicken up and create a gravy after it's all done. You can do this with cube steak and red meat. You don't necessarily want to do this for chicken, unless you really are going to cook your gravy for a long period of time. Also, do never save this. Like, I know that Carb Quick is expensive, but if you have used it to bread something and you've put raw meat in it, don't just put this in your freezer or fridge and go, well, I'll use this again. No, whatever we don't use gets thrown away, unfortunately. But, I mean, look at what we're gonna get. All right, now this oil is hot, screaming hot. Make sure that you use oh, you see that? Make sure you use a keto-friendly oil. And you want it to be hot, because if your oil is too low, it'll just soak up this grease. And you don't want oily, greasy cube steak. Okay, don't overcrowd your pan, because then it won't fry, it will steam. I wish you guys could smell this. Like, within seconds, this smells amazing. This is my childhood. This is the South. The fact that this is keto is, I can't even. So, this is looking amazing. I'm gonna provide a place to put these when they are done, a landing spot. All right, y'all, it's about time to flip. I can tell once you see a little bit of red, a little bit of blood coming up on this side, you know it's about time to flip. You want it to be brown and crispy. Here's hoping. Yes! Do y'all see this? Come on. This is good eating. I'll tell you that right now. Come on, that is picture perfect. First round are done. Put them right into a waiting container. You want them to cool and have some time to rest, so that that meat stays nice and juicy, and in with the next batch. Once you put these in, by the way, don't move them around. You don't need to add any other oil. Don't worry, we are going to be cooking some vegetables, some peppers and onions. Normally I would just do onions, but I don't have just onions, so it's going to be onions and pepper in the gravy tonight. But let those stay. Do not mess with them. When they are ready to flip, you will know, because they will come away from the pan. If they're sticking, that means they're not ready. A lot of times I'll do this in cast iron too, but I like the size of this, and I like that it's deeper, because Lord knows I'm not trying to clean up all of this grease. All right, y'all, so the last round of cube steaks are on, and I just pulled the biscuits out of the oven. Are they not gorgeous? I told you they brown up right on the top. Oh, let me show you one of the bottoms of them. Look at that. Perfectly brown. Just stunning. All right, we're gonna let them. All right. All of the things are done, and there is basically no oil left. And I know what you're thinking, ooh, look at all that brown on the bottom, not black. Don't you worry. That's what this is for. These vegetables are going to saute in that, and it's going to clean up the bottom of this pan. Just wait. In a couple minutes, you won't even know. It's going to be completely clear, and we're going to get up all that flavor. Brown is flavor. All right, y'all, while these vegetables are cooking down, I'm going to take one of these beef bone broths. I get these from Costco, and I'm going to put it into about 1.5 cups of water. And I'm just gonna make a beef bone broth so that I can thin out my gravy when it's time to make this beef bone broth. And you can honestly, a lot of people just drink this. This is very healthy for you. All you gotta do is mix it in, a little bit of a thyme sprig, or if you're on keto and trying to get your fats in, a little bit of butter. And there you go, beef bone broth. So I wasn't sure if I would need to add more of the carb quick to thicken this up, but because we cooked in this pan, the residual carb quick is already thickening this up. So I'm just gonna pour in some of the beef broth and let it cook down and see what we get. It's already looking really deep and luxurious, so I'm gonna put some of that in. I'm gonna put a little bit of this. This is Trader Joe's Mushroom and Company. It's a multi-purpose umami. So I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, but I do like that umami flavor, and I think this adds something to it. I also, here is another southern staple, guys, Gravy Master. A tiny bit of this goes a very, very long way. Watch this. Boom. Just that. All this does, and this isn't going to affect the keto of it all either, because you're using so little, and this is not a ton of carbs, but a lot of flavor. Okay, in the meantime, this I'm gonna put inside the microwave. It has 4 carbs or fewer per serving, and Christy Davis, she swears by this. I've never tried it. It is a riced veggie cauliflower risotto. Gonna put it 5 minutes in there, and then she swears you can just put some butter on it. So we're gonna put some butter and a little gravy. Hopefully it's good. All right, y'all, I just made Jarrell a plate. We have the cauliflower rice, which I must admit is actually delicious. Christy, you do not steer me wrong. We have a piece of our cube steak with gravy, and we have a biscuit. Let's get him over here because I know he's hungry. All right, our favorite part of the video. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see him. Let me bring it up just a little. There you go.
All right.
So, cauliflower rice with the gravy, and then cube steak and a biscuit. Oh.
And a biscuit. Okay.
Yeah. I was saying before, I was like, maybe I won't make the biscuits, and he's like, the good ones? You should make the biscuits. I was like, all right. So you know what the biscuit tastes like, so you don't do that, but let's do that.
Let me do the cube steak.
The cube steak, which...
I kept calling it Salisbury steak before.
Salisbury steak is...
I didn't know the difference.
Salisbury steak is basically like a hamburger. Cube steak with gravy.
Mmm.
That is southern.
This is good. I like it. Have another bite. You may not like this, but my grandmother used to make something that tastes kind of like the same. She made liver and onions.
Oh, that's a very southern thing.
But it has like the same kind of texture and flavor. But I know you don't like liver, but
no, it's not my favorite. But it is a quintessential southern thing.
The gravy and the onions.
Very similar way of cooking. Very like, you know. It's just a method. It's very southern. So try that cauliflower and see if Christy lied to you.
No. I like this actually.
It's good, right? I'm actually genuinely surprised how much it does not taste cauliflower-y, if that's a word.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And I don't like mushrooms, and I don't like asparagus. Both mushrooms and, yeah, a little butter, a little salt. That's what she said, a little butter, a little salt.
It's really good.
Yeah, so bon appetit, guys. This is what's for dinner tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow us at BoosCruize. That's at BoosCruize, cause you're worth it, E. And dinner time.
All right.
All right.